This is a normal set. Only if you take rest after the reps, but if you immediately pick up the next weights which are slightly lighter and do reps again, then you are probably attempting a drop set, especially if you are doing this with different types of weights and considering the rates you are going lower.
Yo, what is up guys? So today we're talking about drop sets, I guess, and drop sets are just so simple, doing as many reps as possible consecutively until you go to the failure.